Feels so good to be back. Yo, what's up world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and welcome back to another episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. This is season 4, episode 6. So welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about one half of the quarterback controversy between Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky. Today's episode, we're going to cover Mitchell Trubisky because there's been a lot of things said negatively about Trubisky. That number one, he's not the guy. Number two, he's bad. Number three, he sucks. He's not the starting quarterback. He's more of a backup. And it led me to a bit of thinking. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why Mitchell Trubisky is not as bad as advertised. But before I dive into those reasons, make sure you guys are staying absolutely safe. We know it's still a pandemic going on, and I want to make sure that you guys take proper precautions and stay absolutely safe. And also, about 60% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. And if you watch my videos, you enjoy them, and you want to help this channel to grow, make sure you click that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post. But y'all know what time it is. Without further ado, let's dive into it. There's been a lot of talk this offseason after the 2019 Bears offense really wasn't great about Mitchell Trubisky is not the guy. Mitchell Trubisky needs to go. Mitchell Trubisky sucks. Mitchell Trubisky's not the starting quarterback that we want. He's more of a backup. But I have a disagreement with a lot of those statements, a lot of those people that make these statements, kind of downplaying Trubisky. Trubisky is not as bad as advertised, and here's why. You have to think in 2018, the Bears offense was a lot balanced when you had guys like Jordan Howard in the backfield, was able to have a strong running game. The offensive line was healthy the majority of the season outside of Kyle Long. And you had a play calling where Trubisky was rolled out more, utilizing his strengths as being a guy who can throw on the run, a guy who can move outside of the pocket, and a guy who can, number one, have the defense have a spy on him because you never know when he's going to take off because of his athletic ability. So you had all of that going for you in 2018, which led to Trubisky to throwing for more than 3,300 yards, 24 TDs, and 12 picks in his first full season as an NFL starter. You guys have to think Trubisky was more of a project quarterback out of the draft if to begin with, because he only had one full season of starting at the University of North Carolina. In 2018, he was a very, very solid quarterback, good enough to even be selected to the Pro Bowl, which hadn't happened since Jim McMahon back in the 80s. That is a huge accomplishment, not only for any quarterback, but also a second-year quarterback to be selected to a Pro Bowl after having a very good second season. Now, last year, there were a lot of attributing factors into Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears offense not having the season that we anticipated. The number one factor that goes into Mitchell Trubisky not having a great 2019 was his left shoulder injury. Number one, when you have an injury to your front shoulder, you're not able to have proper mechanics with throwing a football, because you're throwing a football while you're in pain. Despite it being his left shoulder and not his throwing shoulder, that is your lead shoulder when you're throwing the football. So if your lead shoulder is unbalanced and is structurally damaged, that is going to affect your mechanics a ton, which probably led to a lot of the high throws, a lot of the inaccurate throws that he had in 2019. And the number 2 factor that led into the Bears not having a good 2019 was the running game was almost non-existent, because Mark Helfrich, the offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, the head coach, implemented a lot of the game plan to put the ball in Mitch Trubisky's hands to see what they can do with him, versus making this offense a balanced offense. And the Bears offense for the majority of the 2019 season was one-dimensional. Despite having a great defense that put them in great field position, they were still committed to throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game with a quarterback with a hurt shoulder, and not utilizing guys like David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen, guys that you can use, but they did not really utilize them to their full abilities because they were a pass-happy offense. Now, we are in a league that's majority pass-happy, but even then, at the end of the day, you still have to have some balance. And an offense you can look towards that has some balance as the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Go back and watch that Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, yes, he played well, but who was the guy that was making a lot of the plays for the Kansas City Chiefs and scored 2 touchdowns? Damian Williams, the running back, because they know they have Patrick Mahomes to make plays, yes, but at the end of the day, you still have to keep some balance in an offense in order for teams to, number one, not be able to prepare for only one dimension of your offense. The Bears' offense in 2019 was one-dimensional. The play calling was not good at all. You're running bad formations. You're running bad plays and unopportune times. You're getting a little bit too cute throughout the year with the offense. And you're not utilizing Mitchell Trubisky's strength, which is A, his mobility, and B, his ability to throw on a run. Now, if you guys have watched my videos in the past, I've compared Mitchell Trubisky to a guy like Jake Plummer. Now, Jake Plummer was one of those guys that he threw a lot on the run with the bootlegs and was able to move around and move outside of the pocket and keep defenses on their toes because he had different ways to beat you. You're kind of locking in some of Mitchell Trubisky's talents because you're not throwing him on the bootlegs and having him throw outside of the pocket. You're not utilizing his mobile mobility to his fullest extent. And when you're having him sit back in a pocket and throw 40 to 50 times a game without any threat of a running game, that's going to make it easier for teams to prepare for you. That's going to make it easier for teams to slow you down. And that's why the Bears struggle, because they were not committed to the running game like they should have been and like they historically have been throughout the history of the franchise. Now, Trubisky has the talent. He has the arm talent. He's mobile. He's able to move around. But I've always said on this channel, his mechanics and some of his footwork was not always the best. But when you hamper both of those things and then you throw a torn labrum in your non-throwing shoulder on top of it, it's going to spell disaster. Now, I still believe that Trubisky can be the guy that leads us further in the playoffs and possibly to a Super Bowl. People are going to say I'm blasphemous for that statement, but once you throw in all the factors that happened in 2019, but then you look back at his film in 2018 and even in the playoff game, he was able to lead a drive in order for us to have a chance to win that wild card game in the first place. Well, thanks to the double doink, that didn't happen, but Trubisky made the plays necessary to put us in a position to win that football game. A lot of that is overlooked because 2019 was not that great. I'm going to be the first to admit 2019 was not that great for Mitch Trubisky. Even though he still threw 17 touchdowns to 10 interceptions and still went over for 3,000 yards in said season where he did not play all 16 games. Trubisky, I still have belief in him. I still think he is one of the, I'll say, one of the top 20, top 15 quarterbacks in the league. Even then, you still have to have a balanced offense. You still have to commit more to the running game. I can live with David Montgomery getting 25 to 30 touches. He's one of those backs that I compare him in his running style to almost a Le'Veon Bell, where he is patient. He can make guys miss, he can break tackles, and he is also beneficial in the passing game as well. And then you throw in Tariq Cohen as well. I think the Bears just need to commit more to the running game and commit more to using Mitchell Trubisky's strengths, which is his mobility and throwing the football outside of the pocket. Trubisky is not as bad as advertised. Everything that happened last year is not Trubisky's fault. And Trubisky, I still think is going to win this quarterback job. Like I've said plenty of times on this channel, Trubisky is not a bad quarterback. Trubisky improved his footwork and his mechanics and was able to get surgery on the torn labrum on that left shoulder. So he comes into a camp healthy. He comes into a camp an improved quarterback. He comes into a camp where the offense is going to be better because you got rid of a guy like Mark Helfrich, who had a lot of the collegiate schemes and tried to throw him into an NFL offense, and the offense threw the ball 40 to 50 times a game, where the offense is not set up to win that way. As long as the Bears stay balanced and as long as Trubisky relies on better footwork and better mechanics and he stays healthy throughout the course of a season, I still think Trubisky is a good quarterback and he is not as bad as advertised. That is all I have for you guys. Thank you guys for watching today's episode. Make sure you like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you think Mitch Trubisky is the good quarterback, or do you think he's the bad quarterback as people say? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I really would like to have that discussion with you guys. Also, subscribe to the channel, like I said. That helps the channel to grow. Share the video because that helps the channel to grow as well. And also, if you guys want to keep up with me, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Both handles are APW Sports, and both will be linked in the description below. But APW Sports signing out. Make sure that you guys stay absolutely safe out there. Have a great and excellent Sunday. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I wanna say thank you to my mom and my daddy for making love the night that you had me. Wanna thank my friends, my sister, and my brother.